Does Mary Poppins suck or slap?
Mary Poppins Returns.
Mary Poppins Returns.
Does it? Does it or doesn't it?
Does it?
Mary,
Poppins, you came back.
you seem hardly to have aged at all.
Really? One never discusses a woman's age, Michael. Would have hoped I taught you better.
So what we're going to do first is just give you our first impressions. That way, if that's all you need and you don't want any spoilers, you can just get that one and go. Yes. If you want to go see it or you don't want to go see it, you'll get our immediate reaction. We haven't talked about it yet, so we haven't come to a consensus. That comes after. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right. It's actually kind of surprising that we both liked it. Mm-hmm. Not because it's a terrible movie, but because it's kind of mixed.
Yes.
And the good stuff I think is really good. The bad stuff it's not terrible. It's just kind of like, it feels like a very safe movie, which I don't think is a bad thing. It doesn't feel like they kind of set out to make anyone mad, which Disney seems to have a penchant for doing these days. Like, it's good that it's a sequel. So whatever it does with the new characters, they can do whatever they want because they're new characters.
Yeah.
The characters from before, you keep the same. Like that, you're supposed to do that. But like when Disney made Beauty and the Beast, I was offended at multiple points because
Never watched it.
Well, there's 3 points where it just seems to grandiosely and spectacularly misinterpret the point. I also liked that enough time had passed to where it would be a bit, she hasn't aged. Or she doesn't seem to have aged today, but it isn't so much time where it's like, she's immortal.
Yeah.
I think this accomplished, from a plot and message level, what Christopher Robin didn't. Which was, there's a time and a place to be a hyper-realistic, super logical, factual, literal, we're dealing with this situation adult. But there's also a time and place for a bit of nonsense and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think it pulled it off better, because what Christopher Robin seemed to do was reject all of your responsibilities and be an immature man baby. And that's it. Just do that. And it kind of came off as like, you shouldn't be telling kids this. You definitely shouldn't be telling man babies this, because they really need to be told to not do that. And they might listen to Pooh, I don't know. This will get into mild spoilers, though I don't think it's a huge deal. Because from the very beginning you learn that the kids in this movie, their mom has passed away.
Classic Disney movie plot line.
They seriously, they have a problem.
Yeah.
You guys have a problem. You won't get over it. But I liked how Mary Poppins doesn't get positioned as the replacement mother or even replacement mother figure. She is a nanny figure. Yeah. Which they needed. If anything, their mother figure, that place is taken by their aunt, which makes sense. I think that's a fine person to do that. But for Mary Poppins to do it, I was worried it was going to happen. I was like, please don't do this. Please don't do this. That's going to be terrible. But it didn't happen, thankfully. Like, Mary Poppins is a professional.
Yes. It's very good.
She's a professional who's relaying the message of you got to have fun sometimes. You got to relax.
Yeah.
But, you also have to clean up after yourself. And you can have fun doing that. It's fun to clean things up. Taking care of your things. Being responsible, even though you're a kid. Although I think more of the issue with the kids in the original was they were a little unruly, whereas these weren't.
These were like the polar opposite. They were too responsible. They weren't like
they were way too grown up.
They were way too grown up. They had grown up too much.
Well, and grown up not in the best ways.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of had to grow up because their mom had died the year before. And, they even say a line where it was like, we've done a lot of growing up the last year. My problem with a lot of the newer remakes, sequels, all that kind of stuff is that I have this bad feeling that villains are getting more black and white. And I have a bad feeling that messages are getting more black and white. Like, there's no nuance to it. Like, everyone is an ideologue. Mary Poppins isn't an ideologue. Like, she dresses nice, she dresses cleanly, but she can enjoy herself.
Yep.
And there's a good... The theme wasn't, quit being so serious. The theme was, you need balance. Or, you're not going to have a healthy upbringing. There has to be a bit of this, a bit of that. Their dad was an artist who they clearly had... he was clearly reflecting on them when he stopped being the artist and got super serious and saying, well, art was a waste of my time. It doesn't make any money. And they, kids are going to take that to heart when they see their parent embody it. So they're going to be like, all right, well, we'll go get the groceries, we'll go to this. And the littlest kid, who's clearly, because he's the youngest, he doesn't have the sense of responsibility for anyone. So the kids above him are going to get the most, dead serious. And he's still going to be the one that is kind of, he's kind of the way that it's going to rebalance. It has to come from him. Like, he's the start. He's basically, he's the one that kind of gets Mary Poppins. He sets that in motion to get her to come back because he starts flying that kite. But I liked how he also grows up a little bit. Like, he learns to be a little bit more responsible. Like, it wasn't, he was right all along, you should act like the youngest child only.
Yeah. It was, everything became balanced. And that's...
So I guess, my reaction to it was I was expecting something worse. And I don't know why I was expecting something worse. It's not like I disliked Mary Poppins or I had any reason to think Disney was like, we gotta fix Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with Beauty and the Beast, there was such a narrative around that where it's we need to fix it. It's creepy. There's Stockholm Syndrome. And it's if you didn't watch the movie, you think there's Stockholm Syndrome, which I guess Disney didn't watch their own movie before doing the remake, but... that's a lot of the good stuff. I think I've talked about a lot of what I liked.
Yeah,
so
for me, I'd say the only thing I kind of... It's not a bad thing, but I feel like there were a lot of new characters, and Mary Poppins' kind of interactions with them seemed like it stayed the same as the previous movie. There was a lot of the same, we're going into this realm now, so we're gonna have a song about this. We're going into this realm now, so we're gonna have a song about this. And there was a lot of kind of the same thing. So to me, I felt like that could also be another good thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a sequel. It can kind of feel like a reboot, but you can still leave some to oh, well, this is a new movie, so it makes me want to go see the old one as well. But then it's you don't have to see the old one because it's it's kind of introducing you to all of these things at the same time. Yeah. I don't know.
No.
I feel like that's a good thing and a bad thing.
You're illustrating exactly something I was thinking during the animated scene.
Yeah.
Where they go to the animated place, just like they do in the first Mary Poppins.
Yeah. The cartoon place.
And what I was thinking, where it was it's very safe. It's a sequel with new characters, but any new character takes the place, fills the exact same role as a character from the previous movie.
Yeah.
And it is later, and the two the father and the aunt are the same characters. They're the little boy and the little girl from the original movie. Not the same actors, but they're those characters now grown up as adults. Which is, I think that's kind of strange when I was thinking about, I didn't know that kid would grow up to lose his wife. That's really sad.
Yeah, it is.
But, that kind of thing happens. But that wasn't really the point. The point wasn't, let's focus on him and how, he's lost his way because this tragedy happened to him, which is relatable and is very real.
Yes.
And a fine message to have. That being said...
They did it very well, too. They didn't, I feel like...
It was tasteful.
Yeah, it was tasteful.
But I think what makes it tasteful is that they don't focus on the parents, which was good. I was glad they didn't focus on the parents. The parents being the same people, almost the reasoning behind that is to have them recognize Mary Poppins and be like, yeah, you can be the nanny for a while. You were good with us. That was basically the whole reason to have them be the same two people. Everyone else is replaced. The chimney sweep is replaced with, what are they called, O'Leary?
O'Leary, yeah. Wasn't he the little younger chimney sweep that was with,
Was that who he was supposed to be?
I think so.
It must have been.
That. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, so instead of being a chimney sweep, he's now a Leary. And it's another, working class, dirt on his face, but enjoys working hard. Kind of a character you don't see anymore, which is, a working class person that isn't portrayed as a miserable loser or, some kind of victim or someone who hates the world. It's like, nah, man, I go to work. I have my job. I enjoy what I do. I never see that anymore. That was weirdly refreshing.
Yeah.
However, opening with his musical number was weird. Because I don't think it's a very good one. It's probably the weakest one in the movie, is the first one.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but it is kind of weird to...
It's good, but it was weird to start on him, and I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know who he is, and I don't know why we're starting with him. And even after the movie finishes, I'm not sure what the point was. It was almost just like, we need a song at the beginning because there's too much stuff that happens before the second song. So maybe the original version of the script is the first song happens too far out. So we gotta have something over here. So, I don't know. It felt like a B-side, to put it one way.
I liked it.
It's fine that you liked it. I was just saying, okay, whether or not it's good as a song, I'm not sure where it has a place in the story.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So,
I get that.
That's my more fundamental criticism, I guess. Mm-hmm. That being said, he's a good singer. Yeah. So, who was it? Lin-Manuel Miranda? I can't remember.
Really talented, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what the last thing I saw him in was, but I recognized the name and I was like, I think he's in good things, and I think he does goodly in those. But let's see, what was I getting at? Yeah, the plot is the same. Or the basics of the plot is the same as the first movie. Yeah. A lot of the new characters just fill the role of a previous character. I don't remember the villain in the first movie, or even if there was a villain. Or if there was a villain, he had such a over-the-top, cartoony disposition.
It was either I don't remember exactly because it's been a while since I saw it, but it was either there was a villain or the villain was
took such a back
all
seat.
Of the big guys at the bank, like what were
yeah, okay, it wasn't one just over the top cackling freaking Dr. Robotnik that was in this movie.
It was the guys that were putting pressure on the dad in the original one that were the kind of bad guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like they worked a little better because you didn't take them too seriously.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, you can't take him seriously because he's so over the top, but he takes himself seriously. Uh-huh. I don't know. He's extremely evil while being really ridiculous, which was weird. It just felt unnecessary. I was even thinking, I was like, when they first introduce him, he's being super nice. Yeah, he's like, well, I'm doing all I can. Yeah. And I was like, he's about to be really evil.
Yeah.
But this movie would work fine if he stayed a good guy. Mm-hmm. If he stayed on their side, the movie's central conflict would work perfectly fine. Because the actual conflict of the movie is we're out of sorts because of a tragedy. Yeah. We haven't really bounced back yet because we're not in the right mind space. We don't have the right goal. And Mary Poppins is there to kind of gradually kind of establish balance and, remind them how and why they're doing things. And then by the end, that's why they're able to find the certificate or whatever, the thing they needed to find.
Yes.
They're able to find that and then fix everything. The bad guy being evil changed nothing. At most, the bad guy inconveniences them at times.
Right, because the conflict was still there regardless of him being the bad guy or not. The conflict would have still been there had he not, torn out that piece of paper and thrown it into the torch.
Right. Yeah,
that conflict would still be because they still needed proof.
Exactly. And they still all of the stuff that they succeed at, he doesn't successfully impede them. And all the stuff they fail at, it's not necessarily his fault. So it was weird to have him there. It was almost like Colin Firth wants to be a kooky villain, so we're going to let him do it. Fine. And honestly, Colin Firth, if you want to be a kooky villain, who should stand in your way?
No, yeah.
Sounds fun.
Go ahead.
It sounds like a good time. He looked like he was enjoying himself.
Yeah. But it was fine.
Yeah, and I even think you still could have had the father getting frustrated with his kids for, overzealously trying to help or, be the ones that save the house when he's trying to save the house. And he's like, you've got to calm down. I am trying to focus on something. Mm-hmm. I would have liked that narrative to not be influenced by, well, we beat the bad guy. Sorry, kids. He was confusing me. And it's like, no, because parents still get irritated with their kids, for the wrong reasons, and maybe the kids didn't do anything wrong, or maybe it's an overreaction. And it's like, don't pretend like that's just because of bad guys. And I liked how Mary Poppins just kind of stayed there. Mm-hmm. When he's getting mad at the kids, she's just, she's a nanny. She's doing her job. And
she's not getting involved with his parenting while he's trying to parent. Because that undermines people and puts you in a bad position.
Yeah,
anyway.
And it would have been unprofessional. Right. And it's like, then he figures it out. Because him and being a parent, he figures out what he's doing wrong.
All of those parts felt really, not good, but, I felt like I was her. I felt, kind of, awkward in the situation, but I didn't want to, say anything. You're kind of just, sitting there, ugh.
She has such a good poker face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's really good.
Emily Blunt was good casting.
Yes.
Very good casting.
She did a very good job.
This is, the second musical I've seen her do. Mm-hmm. First one was a My Little Pony movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She was, what was her name?
She was really good.
Something Tempest. She was the villain in the My Little Pony movie. She has a good singing voice. Mm-hmm. I hope she does more musicals.
Me too.
I like musicals.
I love musicals.
It's very easy to please me with musicals. It's is the music good? I can get over the fact that a movie or a song might not make sense in the plot right now if I'm enjoying the song.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of enjoyable songs. I think the beginning is the lowest point. Everything after that works pretty well. The scene in Topsy Turvy, or what was it, Cousin Topsy?
Yeah.
Seemed like a bit of a tangent,
mm-hmm.
but there was character development for the kids, and was there really character development for the Leary? He almost seemed like he was a bit of a jokester guide, a bit. He was the yin to Mary Poppins yang, which is really how Dick Van Dyke worked in the original. Mm-hmm. Was, she's the proper professional, and he's the one who's just having a great time. He gets the job done, but
yeah.
He's like, hey, yeah, let's do a little dance number. Why not? I don't know if it was really character development for him. It almost kind of felt like filler, but it was an enjoyable set piece, and it was an enjoyable song, so I can't really stay mad at it.
Yeah.
I did notice that when they're in the cartoon segment and it looks like it's about to end, I was starting to think, oh no, please don't go back to the real world just yet. This looks too good. The 2D animation in the cartoon segment is so well done. I was worried that they had that underwater CG scene, and I was like, oh no, is that gonna count for the animated scene?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh,
I mean, I guess
get so dated.
Yeah, and I guess that's why they did that, because it's like, well, that was the animation of that time, this is the animation of this time.
Yeah.
But then they went to the animated world, and I was like, yes! It looks so good! Disney can still do it!
It was really fluid and really,
mm-hmm.
I feel like I didn't even...
So much personality.
Yeah.
There's one point where you think it's about to end, and then something happens to continue the scene, and it's something bad happens. One of the kids gets kidnapped, but in my head I was like, yeah, get him! More in this place!
Yeah.
I liked all of that. I'm fine with it being safe, because the thing that I don't like, oh my gosh, before this movie we saw the Aladdin trailer, and I was like, so hesitant to get excited, because I'm like, some of this looks accurate to the movie, but I'm so worried, just because I don't really trust him, unless it's Jon Favreau, because The Jungle Book was really good, in my opinion. Well, I really liked The Jungle Book.
I don't know.
But I thought Maleficent was bad. I thought Cinderella was fine. It's like Kenneth Branagh can make a nice, pretty, feel-good story. It's what he did with Thor. But Beauty and the Beast was a travesty, in my opinion. So, and I didn't go see Nutcracker in the Four Realms because, well, no one did. I think those are probably the least exciting trailers ever. Dumbo looks okay.
I was on the verge of crying.
The elephant
So,
looks really
just
cute.
from the trailer, yeah, just because of the way they made him look, I was
Yeah.
like, oh no.
I was thinking in my head, I was like, what's like the cutest thing ever? Take the biggest animal you can think of and have the baby.
Yeah, have
Like,
the baby.
take the baby version of the biggest, scariest animal, and it's just adorable because it's huge, but it's still little. Mm-hmm. So cute. But I was wondering, I'm like, why have Tim Burton do it? This doesn't look anything like a Tim Burton movie. When they said Tim Burton's gonna direct it, I was gonna be like, that pink elephant scene gonna be lit.
Yeah.
But
Ooh,
it actually looks.
It didn't look like it was.
It looks very restrained.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I wonder,
why are we doing that?
Did Tim Burton direct it?
Yeah, it was Tim Burton and maybe he's just a producer.
It was like from the creative mind of something.
Ooh,
like
you're
that.
right. He might just be a very far off producer.
Yeah, that could be.
But like Danny DeVito was in it, and I was like, Tim Burton and DeVito are back at it. This is gonna be great. And then I see the trailer, and I'm like, this looks good. And then it reminded me that Tim Burton was doing it. I was like, this looks disappointing.
This looks cute.
Yeah.
It looks adorable.
I mean, cute's fine, just as long as
things.
as long as he can deliver on the darkness, because Dumbo is dark.
Yeah.
The original movie. Anyway.
Back to what we were talking about.
back to the
Mary
actual
Poppins.
topic at hand.
Yes.
Go
ahead. I just want to reiterate that it felt like it could have been a reboot, but it also felt like it could have been a sequel.
Thank you for refocusing on that. This is basically the last thing I have to say about it. It makes it to where Mary Poppins feels like James Bond.
Ooh.
Or the Power Rangers. Because here's what you can do with this kind of character. This character that doesn't age and can be recast as whoever they want. You can make episodic stories. And stories that are very similar, that follow a formula. You tweak a few things to make it fresh and interesting. You know, you get some new directors, some new people come up with different ideas, but you keep it in the same structure, and it can work really well. And I think it works because characters like James Bond and Mary Poppins are very compelling on their own. Like, they're extremely competent. They border on Mary Sue characters where they basically have no flaws. But the story isn't as much about them as much as the world or the like the people they're influencing. And you can cycle those out like crazy. But like Mary Poppins doesn't need to have character development. James Bond doesn't need character development. The Power Rangers don't need character development.
They're already at their prime.
Yeah, they're already at their peak.
Characteristics.
And they can work as that. They can just stay in that position while they cause change. You know, they come into other people's lives, fix stuff up, maybe help the people learn how to do things for themselves, and then they're off. And I think if we do get another Mary Poppins movie, it should be just like that. It should not continue with these kids, or I mean, if it happens, 40 years from now, it should be, the kids from this movie at the closest thing possible. They're going to be the adults, and it'll be about their kids. I think this worked uniquely well. I don't think it's phenomenal. I don't think it's quite as memorable as the first one. When I saw that Rob Marshall directed it, I was like, oh, cool, so we're going to have good dancing choreography. But the thing about dancing choreography, much like fights, like action choreography, is that it's best when you can watch it. And this thing that people do these days, or maybe it's just something that studios want them to do because they're thinking people are going to lose interest, is that they keep cutting. They keep cutting around, switching cameras. Go to this angle, go to this angle. Don't let anyone look at anything for too long. Where I think the dancing numbers would have worked better if they moved the camera around instead of just cut, zoom, focus, on this one, show this stunt. It's like, no, show us the set, because they built complete sets for them to do these dances on.
Yeah.
Like, these dances could just be performed live.
Like a musical, like a real,
exactly.
live musical, yeah.
So you could have just filmed that. Do it one shot, or maybe if you have to do a cut, it's not every 3 seconds. It felt like it was every 3 seconds on average. Like, there's this really cool dancing number that I loved. It's the Leary one, where they have, like, the bikes on the ramps and stuff, really and they're doing those cool stunts, and I'm like, I can see those guys doing the stunts. Like, this isn't CGI. It isn't fake. They're doing it there on the set, and it's choreographed and everything. Because Rob Marshall is a dance choreographer, like he does that kind of stuff. He was a judge on So You Think You Can Dance for a while. He actually directed the 4th Pirates of the Caribbean movie, which is my second favorite. So he can direct action and he can direct dancing. but I don't like how we weren't able to see it. It's all chopped up, and it becomes less satisfying that way. And I was like, why does this feel less impressive than the original Mary Poppins, even though the stunts seem just as impressive? And it was because the original Mary Poppins, they had their set built, and they slid the camera to follow the action.
Yes.
But they weren't cutting like crazy, and you get to see the choreography and like the actual talent and the rhythm of everything, and the, you know, the intelligent choreography that went into everything. So it kind of loses points there, but man, we never get nothing like this anymore, so I ain't complaining.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
So yeah, yeah, that's it slaps. Mary Poppins Returns slaps.
Slaps.
Mary Poppins slaps.
Yeah.
One more thing. The captain neighbor. That was weird.
Yeah. I didn't even remember him because it was like one of those.
It was such a weird, wacky thing.
It was like, oh, charming Mr.
It's a charming, crazy old admiral who fires cannons in the neighborhood, and they get so close to making me not care about it, not care about how out of place it feels at the end. I won't spoil that part, but they kind of bring it around a little bit, but I'm still wondering why is that there to begin with? But yeah,
could it
other
be
than that
he is someone from the previous
that's
movie?
possible, and I just don't remember.
Yeah.
In which case, I guess that makes it okay, but I think this movie's biggest strength is being episodic and not based on continuity, so I don't know if I really can give it points for that. Even though they do have a really fun cameo at the end.
Yes.
But I'll leave it at that. See y'all next time.
See you next time.